My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
All of the things he's done, we've become like a third world nation, and it's a shame.
There are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally. That's better than when he left office. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
A small sampling of this week's presidential debate, during which the incumbent Joe Biden triggered full-blown panic within his Democratic Party by delivering an unmistakable, cringeworthy demonstration of his physical and mental frailty, leaving in question his fitness to lead during the rest of this term and potentially the 4 years to come.
Making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID, excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
It was not just a bad night on the debate platform. It was, for millions of Americans, confirmation of what many had witnessed over the past year in a string of lapses and gaffes by the 81-year-old whose physical and mental capacity is clearly in decline. Panel, it mattered a lot less than it should have that former President Donald Trump made at least 24 demonstrably false claims, because the eclipsing headline of the night was Joe Biden's capacity or the lack of it. You agree with that, Gary Pollan?
Oh, absolutely. And I think what you saw, the split screen was devastating. I mean, the Biden campaign made a big mistake agreeing to that, because you saw Biden look befuddled, lost, looking down, and Trump was on his game. He was well behaved for Trump. I mean, remember the debates from 4 years ago? Trump was obnoxious. I mean, he irritated people who even liked him. So I found that of interest. If you grade on a curve, yeah, Trump gets an A because his competition was so weak. But here's the better question, and I'm wondering, all these people around Biden, all these Democratic leaders, all the major left-wing media has continued to tell us Biden was fine, there are no issues, he's as sharp as a tack, he's as sharp as he ever was, there's nobody better to be president. To that I say, bull. Just not true. And the American people saw it, and now the Democrats are having to face what they created.
All right, Doug Miller, over the course of a couple decades, I sat next to you at many debates, so I know you have a sharp eye. What were your takeaways here?
You know, Greg, you and I have moderated and been on the panels of plenty of debates over the years. I've often said that these are job interviews, and the hiring committee or the voters who are watching on television. I don't think the man who we saw there would get the job. And I think the hiring committee would look at it and say, okay, even if we hire him today, do we really want him in charge of the nuclear arsenal 4.5 years from now? It was bad. When you make Donald Trump look coherent and sane, you know it's bad.
All right, Chris Tritico, is the panic overblown?
Well, I think that there was a couple, Gary's right about a couple things. The split screen was a bad idea. The decision to quiet Donald Trump's mic was a bad decision, because I think that he would have gone back to the interrupting, which would have made him look bad during the debate. That was a bad decision on the Democrats' part. But to me, for the media nationally to jump all over Joe Biden, don't get me wrong, it was a bad debate, okay? But we're focusing on what Joe Biden did and ignoring this total lie. Every word out of Donald Trump's mouth was a lie, and no one is mentioning that. And we're talking only about Joe Biden. I'll take a declining octogenarian every day over Donald Trump and his complete inability to tell the truth about anything. I'll take Ted Cruz, and I hate Ted Cruz, over Donald Trump.
All right, I called Marcus Davis on Friday morning and hearkened back to a few weeks ago when he said our country is headed for a disaster. And I said, wow, you were looking at the future. Marcus, your takeaways here.
So I think that it was a sad night in America for all Americans, not for Democrats, not for Republicans. It was a sad night for Americans. Chris Green brings up a great point. part of the sadness comes when we actually believe that a person who fumbled and mumbled throughout a debate lost to a guy who lied for an hour plus straight. That's a sad state in the United States of America. And as people watched, they clung to their beliefs and wanted their guy to win. We just watched the State of the Union a little bit back, and everybody was hoping that if he doesn't mess up, then it's all good, right? We've got a lying, sexually assaulting felon on one side, and we've got a deteriorating Joe Biden on the other side. And we're okay with this. We're perfectly okay with this. This country that started as a revolt to tax and beyond, we should be at that position right now, because this is unacceptable for who America is. This is unacceptable for who America is supposed to be. It's unacceptable for what America can be.
Holly, 30 seconds, then we're going to come back to you in the next segment.
Gotcha. On last week's show, I said the bar was pretty low for both candidates, and Donald Trump met the bar, and Joe Biden failed spectacularly. And I'm glad Doug brought up the issue of a job interview. The problem is he's already got the job, and so the question is, who is really running the country right now? Because it's very obvious it's not Joe Biden.